All right, folks, we'd like to begin. We had the last set of parents come in. I'd like to begin. It's a little bit after 7. So, cable access, we good? All right, thank you. I know we were battling sound issues over the last 45 minutes, so we do appreciate all the extra effort to get us up and rolling. So thank you so much. My name is Andy Crisafulli. I'm the athletic director here at Case High School, and I'd like to welcome you to our annual Winter Sports Awards banquet. I'd like to send a special thank you to all of our parents and guardians for your continued support of our athletic program in our building and our school. When reflecting upon the athletic season, aside from all of the tangible success and improvements within our respective programs, much of which we'll be recognizing and celebrating this evening, I'm most proud of the way that our student athletes and coaches represent themselves, their families, Joseph Case High School, and the greater school community. Our student athletes display great character in adverse situations, persevere through numerous challenges, and are respectful and courteous during their many successes. And that's what's important in high school athletics. To assist me with tonight's banquet are the many dedicated coaches that are sitting behind me, who we will introduce as their sport is called to be presented. On behalf of all of us in our athletic department, we'd like to thank the following people. Our school principal, Mr. Brian McCann, who's in the back. Our assistant principal, Chris Costa, who is also in the back. Mr. Russell Boardman, who was here all afternoon printing out emergency forms for our spring season. And last but certainly not least are the Friends of the Cardinals, who are our booster club, for not only organizing tonight's potluck supper, but for all the support that they give our athletic program throughout our 3 seasons. Okay, we have a lengthy program this evening, and you can follow along with the pamphlet that we hopefully grabbed on the way in, the white pamphlet. Let's get started. Our first presenter, our leadoff hitter for the night, is Mr. Bob Mitchell for boys and girls indoor track.
All right, thank you. I'm going to do the boys and girls. I'll do an overview for both teams first, and we'll get into the awards. Obviously, I want to thank Russ Boardman for everything he does for us, administration for their support, and Mr. Crisafulli for the hours he spends behind the scenes that no one's aware of. The people I really have to thank are my 2 assistant coaches, Jay Ashley and Mark Fairchild, not just for all that they do, but they're the only other 3-sport coaches. And it's a grind. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and being a 3-sport coach takes up so much more time. So I really appreciate that. So Mr. Fairchild, Mr. Ashley. And the other people I have to thank are the parents. The parents are so supportive. Our veteran parents know the deal. They're there, but we had new parents getting into track, sometimes showing up at Reggie Lewis. Reggie Lewis, if you haven't been there, it's in Boston, and there's absolutely no parking. So I have people travel there to see their kids run for a short amount of time. I always admire that level of commitment, and just what a positive group they were. And the other group I got to thank, and many of them will be getting awards tonight, are the captains. In track, I think captain of all sports, it might be the most important one to have good captains in, because sometimes Mr. Fairchild's out on the roads with the kids, and sometimes Coach Ash and I are covering 4 different places. We can only be in 2. So we depend on captains a lot to help the younger athletes, and I appreciate all that my captains do. Really quickly about track, we came in 6th at the SEC championship for both boys and girls. Given our numbers and coming off the season we had last year, we lost a lot of seniors. We had 5 kids competing collegiately this year. So it was a big loss, and a lot of people I'll mention stepped up. But you see more talent when you go to Reggie Lewis in track than you'll see in any other sport. Isaac Tucker, Noah Casado, John, they threw against, John Grell, they threw against the best shot put in the country. He's going to Duke. He won the Nationals. Someday they're going to watch him on TV in the Olympic trials and say, I threw against that kid. And if their memory's good, they're going to remember we beat his team in the shot put relays before as well. Antonio Luna ran against an All-American, right? The kid from Watertown, I believe, made All-American. So when we go there, we see kids that are the best in New England, and some of the kids that are the best in America. All right, let's get in. We'll do the boys first. We lost so many boys and so many people stepped up. Keegan in the hurdles was our rock. Dan in the sprint, he shows everyone should spend a lot of time in the weight room. His improvements had so much to do with lifting than me as a track coach. Trey and Ian solidifying themselves as part of the team. We had no 600 runners. JP and Ben Saltmarsh, 2 freshmen, stepped up and both made it to the SECs. Ben, Aiden Bates, and all our throws, we've been dominant, we've graduated, and what are we going to do when they leave? John Grell and Caleb LaRue are answering that question. I think we'll be all set. And track, it's not just about the kids that get awards. Some of the best moments this season was Catherine stepping up to run her first 300 at the end of the year, and Noah and Cole Roach of that 1,000 race that they built up in a JV heat for about 2 weeks, and they were about 100th of a second apart. All right, now let's get into the awards. The first award's going to go to a guy, let me look, the SEC Sportsmanship one. It's a conference level award, and this young man's getting it. He had a good season. He was a distance runner. He responded really well to speed workouts. He dropped down to the 1,000, was really successful. That's not why he's getting this award. No one enjoys track more than he does. If there's a meet he doesn't qualify for, he shows up early to be on the van. He's in my room, packing my equipment. He's there helping run things at the long jump in the state meet with Meredith and myself. He's handing out numbers. He just wants to go to watch track and help the team in any way he can. At first it was kind of fun, and then he became someone I learned to rely on. So come on up, Ben Paquette. The next SEC honorable mention, Noah Casado, had to work tonight. He had a good season. He battled some injuries. He was a little bit unlucky this year. He missed the school record by 1 inch twice. So he came as close as you can. What I appreciate about Noah, he's an adult. He takes responsibility when he makes mistakes. He admits it, never blames anyone, and moves on. So even though he's not here, how about giving up for Noah Casado? Coach's Award. This next person coming up, and he's been up here before, and every time he comes up, he acts surprised. Sometimes he's getting an award. If people know track, they know he's one of the best javelin and discus throwers around. Shot put is his 3rd event. I admire a guy that does a whole season to throw for his 3rd event. And the shot put, other people in the state can do all 3 events well, maybe 5, and he's one of them. Isaac, they're lucky, his opponents are lucky the season ended because he kept going better and better. So I'm saying it's his 3rd event. He was 5th in the whole SEC. That means on most teams he'd be the best thrower. And when he went to the D5 state championship, I don't know how many teams there, 40, 45. He came in 10th place. So he's someone we counted on a lot this season, and even more outdoors. And in my mind, he's one of the most talented throwers in the state. Come on up, Isaac. Congratulations, man. One of our captains, one of our distance runners, Austin Michael. When I walked in, I knew he deserved the award, even if I knew nothing about the season. All the distance runners, it's crazy how many of you are here tonight, and they're all sitting at the table, and most of you were on time or early. Ben, you're one of the first ones here tonight out of everyone. Austin's a really, really good distance runner, and if you don't believe me, you can check the record board. Indoors, he's the fastest mile and 2-miler we've ever had. Some days those records might be eclipsed. Maybe you younger distance runners want to do something about that, see if you can beat them. Good luck. But Austin, though, sometimes those records might be replaced, but he'll always be remembered as a leader. And when distance, we didn't have many people trying to build the program. He's the constant. He's the one that, along with Mr. Fairchild, you're the one that brought it from a few runners to now look at, we almost got a whole row of you. The other thing about Austin is, if we needed points, kids will say, do you need me in a relay? Austin said, hey, I'll jump in the mile if you need me. That's after running the 2 mile. So go out there, everyone tonight, go on the new track. Mr. Christofoli won't mind. Run a 2 mile as hard as you can. Take a short rest and then race someone else in a mile. And for him, yeah, I can just jump in and do that mile. And sometimes we had to turn him down to protect himself from himself. He might have been hurt and willing to do it. He might have had a big race coming up, but he always put the team first. And a great captain. Come on up, Austin. Really quickly, Austin, I didn't do that well enough. He's got the Coaches Award, which is, I think, a very important award, but he also is SEC Honorable Mention, so he's taking home 2 awards tonight. Congratulations. Thank you, Sarah. All right, the next, last award is our only SEC All-Star from the boys' team. And the team MVP. He was our top high jumper, our top 55 runner, and our top 300 runner. He was another one of our captains, and he's a great leader. If we were a business, he's our best salesman. He's always out there trying to recruit kids. He's trying to think what the team will look like after he's gone. In the 300, he was really upset with his results in the SEC championship. Out of 10 teams, he was second. So on 9 teams, he would have been the best runner, and the whole conference was 1 kid that could beat him. And he wanted to be better than that, and that speaks to how successful he is. And the speech I gave earlier about these great guys, I talked about that with Antonio the other day. He says track is one of the most humbling experiences of his life, because no matter how fast you are and how much he destroys kids in our conference meets, when you go up to Reggie Lewis and you're running against all New England runners and all American runners, it's certainly an eye-opener. He's an extension of the coaching staff. We are really good at the blocks. I didn't work with anyone on the blocks this year. I would send them off with Antonio. Sometimes we had to talk to him. We put everyone's workouts before his workouts. And him and I would stay up running extra. Other kids would be going home, and he'd be the last one here. Not because he was late for practice, certainly, but because he worked with everyone else. It's like, I still got to get my workout in. He's someone I'm going to count on heavily outdoors. He was in Noah Casado's group. He missed the 300 record by 1/10 of a second. So you're the second best 300 runner in the history of the school. Congratulations. There's 2 dual meets where he took the 55 high jump and the 300. Come on up, Antonio. And thank you. He's the second best dressed guy here tonight. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And I hope he'll consider continuing his career in college, and he's going to a Division I school, and he can do it. All right. Now to the girls' awards. The first one, SEC Sportsmanship, is a freshman, and it's Emily Green, and she did a lot for the team. But after coaching her a whole season, there's 2 things I don't know about her. There's one, I don't know what event she does, because she does whatever we need her to be. So she ran the 55, the 300, the 600, which is a brutal race, and she didn't train for it. We just needed it, so we said jump in. High jump. The 4x4 relay, 4x2, we threw you in the long jump once. Reggie Lewis. And she did all these things for the team. When talking to her parents, she did qualify for the SECs, which is a good accomplishment as a freshman, but they didn't really care about her time, just want to know she was helping the team. And she always helped the team. And that stuff at the meets everyone sees. When people left high jump mats out, Emily would help put them away even if she didn't jump that day, and she'd sprint back to get another mat, drag it down herself and sprint to get another one. And every coach needs athletes like that. The other thing I don't know about her, I don't know how she would finish this sentence. I can't come to practice because. I've never heard her say those words. And as days you were there, you probably shouldn't have been. But she doesn't know how to say, I might not be at practice. She is always there. So congratulations, Emily Green. And I look forward to her doing outdoor track and soccer next season. Congratulations, Dan. I'm proud of you. All right, let's get to SEC honorable mention. This girl, I think, won the Coach's Award last year. She was a freshman as well, and she was nice and pleasant and helped the team and did all those things, and that's kind of what she won an award for. This year, she was helpful and nice, but she also was a force in the SEC. She runs the mile a lot. She claims to hate the 2 mile, but if we say, Brianna, you can get points in the 2 mile, she will jump right in. She's someone I wish more of the freshman class this year would look at. We don't have enough freshman girls competing on any of the winter teams, but she wasn't sure about doing high school sports. She's a 3-sport athlete, and she will win 3 varsity letters this year. So this one last year was for her sportsmanship and many other issues. This year, Brianna, you're being recognized for being a very talented runner, someone who put up more points than you realized this season and qualified for the SEC. Come on up, Bree. By the end of the year, we had very few girls on the team. We had injuries, some people focusing on other sports, so we got down to a ridiculously small number. Although I don't know if other teams realize this because of the big 3. We had 3 girls that we could put against another team and we do well. When I do SEC All-Stars, one thing, it's really hard to earn in track. DR had 140 kids on their team this year between boys and girls. So we're talking about 250 and 300 kids if you had ORR between 2 teams. So for you to get picked to be, anyone to get picked to be an SEC All-Star, it's an unbelievable honor. As much as I said that for Alyssa Storm, she's SEC honorable mention, and you can't get all your kids in, but that was kind of a tough one to take. The winner at the SEC Championship is automatically an All-Star, and she lost the 2 mile by less than a second. So it went from a kid who's 1 second faster over 2 miles was automatic, and she was chosen as honorable mention. 2 mile doesn't get enough respect because not a lot of kids do it. So you say, well, there's only 7, 8 kids in that race. There's a reason no one else does it. No one else wants to do it. Every team could put people in it. She's another one that she qualified for the SEC Championship, and she's only a sophomore in 4 different events. She qualified for the state meet. And I want to make sure I don't forget this, and at the state meet, she broke the school record. Give it up just for breaking the school record for Alyssa. The other thing with Alyssa, though, to be honest, that's not enough for her. SEC honorable mention, she always gets a coach's award. She never misses practice, and she's as a tough runner as you're ever going to meet. Congratulations. Come on up, Alyssa. All right, almost done here. We had 2 SEC All-Stars, Megan Borges and Meredith Castro. Megan Borges was the top 300 runner throughout the season in the SEC. She's really smart. She knows at Reggie Lewis, I'm here to run the fastest time I can possibly put down. The time she put down would have qualified in the 300 for the boys' championship. When she got to the race, she knew the SEC Championship wasn't about posting her best time. It was about winning the whole thing. She felt pressure because she's ranked number 1, and so she's supposed to win it. Coming into the home stretch, I think she was in 3rd. And to watch her just pick them off and win, I don't know if it was a 1/10 of a second or less. It's one of the smartest races I've ever seen run at Case High School. She was, and I'll tell you when to come up, Megan, but she was an SEC All-Star. Actually, I also don't want to forget, at the Speed Classic, I just want you to listen to the numbers. You don't understand times, but there was, in her race, there were 147 people, and she was 5th. At the, 8th out of 160. She has a tremendous work ethic. If I want to try something newer than practice, she'll do it, whether it was working on your finishes, and we worked on it kind of quietly during practice, didn't make a big deal, and it made all the difference in the SEC Championship. She was 16th at the Division 5 state meet. The other all-SEC person was Meredith Castro. And up to the end of the season, she was saying, I'm not having the best season. She was overcoming injuries and other physical ailments. She didn't think she had a great season because in 155 she got 2nd once in a dual meet, and she'd won every other one. She was the one, my eyes are so bad, that got 5th out of 147 people at the Speed Classic. So imagine when people bring 150 people and we're putting kids in the top 10. She made it to the States in the long, so she was 2nd at SEC. She made it into the States. In the long jump, we went to the last chance to qualify. She was just sneaking in. Right before she jumped, I looked up my phone. She got knocked out of the state meet. She then jumped one of her better jumps of this season, and she snuck in. So then the state meet's over, and she's going to long jump, and we all wanted to leave. We'd been there all day, so we hope she did well, just not that well. And her first jump, she had her best jump ever, and for the first time in 10 years, we had a girl place at the D5 state meet. So here's my problem. You two, in a second, you're going to come up together. You were both SEC All-Stars, as decided by the league, and Megan, obviously, you win. It was automatic. But for MVP, I went back and forth. Megan, you had a better regular season. You're an SEC champion. Meredith ended the season by doing something no one's done in more than 10 years and placing 8th at the state meet. So you guys can come up together. You're co-MVPs. Which one are you? I should race. I know, whoever gets there first gets MVP. Congratulations, dear. I'm really proud of you. Congratulations. I'm proud of you as well. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all the winter athletes.
Thank you, Coach Mitchell. Please make sure that if you are an award winner tonight, whether it's MVP, Coach's Award, any of the SEC All-Stars, Honorable Mention, or Sportsmanship, please make sure that you hang around after our banquet is concluded. We'll be taking pictures as usual in our gymnasium. All right, our next presenter is our co-cheerleading coaches, Sarah Cavallo and Ashley Mello.
We would like to start by thanking Andy and Mr. McCann for another great winter season. Special thank you to Mr. Boardman for keeping all of the student athletes healthy all season long. Thank you to the Friends of the Cardinals for their hard work and for the potluck. We'd also like to thank our Cardinal Cheer Booster Club run by Anu Allerhead and Melissa Monty. These ladies work really hard to collaborate with us to fundraise for the ever-growing expenses of being a competitive cheerleading team. Before we talk about our season, we would also like to take a second to congratulate all of the winter sports teams on all of their accomplishments. We're honestly really nervous coming into this winter season. In the past 2 years, we have not had the best turnout for the team, to say the least. However, this year we had 16 girls come out for the team, which was exciting. And a side note, double what we had last year. Our main goal was to have a competition team and to be able to actually compete. And these girls were ready to work. They exceeded all of our expectations. They were able to compete. They came in second in our conference and made it to regionals. This was a huge accomplishment, especially when we were not even sure if we would have a season at all. We cannot express how proud we are of this team and how hard they work to improve their skills. It feels like every practice someone was gaining a new skill or hitting a new stunt. With only one senior leaving us, we are so excited to see what this young team will accomplish. The hardest thing about this season was choosing awards because each and every one of these girls deserves recognition.
The first recipient of our Coaches Award goes to a young lady who works hard, and we don't believe we give her enough credit. Sometimes we give her some tough love, but it's because we know what she is capable of. She takes our constructive criticism well, for the most part, and she doesn't think twice when we wanted her to try a new position. And even though she ended up staying as a base, her enthusiasm about the challenge was great. It was a bit of a roller coaster this season for her, but she came through for her team in a big way right in time for our regional competition. Congratulations to Kaylin Mooney.
To make you cry for this one.
You're welcome. Congrats. Thanks. Scary. The next Coaches Award goes to one of our captains. She has been with us since our first season coaching. We thought she was a great cheerleader her sophomore year, but she continued to improve every single year. She was a great role model this year, helping to mentor the younger girls and giving her all in every stunt and every single run-through. She was always looking for ways to make her team succeed. She will not be easy to replace, and we will miss her next year and wish her all the best. Our second Coaches Award goes to Senior Captain Gina Rounds. Our sportsmanship award this season is for a girl who always keeps us on our toes. She works hard every single practice, and there was not one day she didn't have the whole team laughing. She would show up and want to make her stunts work and want to work on skills to make herself better. She cheered on the other girls and celebrated their accomplishments, but it made her want her skills even more. It is great to have positive energy on the team, and we can't wait for more seasons with this girl. It's been great watching her come out of her shell and be a positive light at practice. Congratulations, Abby Martin.
Whoa.
Congrats.
Oh no, I gave Sheena the wrong one. So she already knows.
Lastly is our MVP award. We continue to be pleasantly surprised with her improvements every year. We put her in a new position this season, and she did not just willingly step up, but she did it impressively well. She took tumbling seriously and got new skills in absolutely no time. She is extremely hardworking and dedicated. She is the kind of kid who works hard and doesn't expect anything in return. She is always motivating her team and giving positive words of encouragement. We did not give her the credit she deserved this season, but we are confident this season wouldn't have been the same without this season's MVP, Katrina Costa.
She has Katrina.
Gina, make sure you switch your award because you have Katrina's.
Thank you. Congratulations, Gina.
Congrats.
Thank you. Can't trust me with anything. We would like to end by saying again how incredibly proud we are of every single one of these young ladies. The season was impressive and very rewarding. We are so lucky to be able to coach this team, and we really can't wait for next year. We know there is nothing but big things in the future for Case Cheerleading. We are so proud to be a part of it and help develop the program. Thank you.
Okay, before we move on to girls basketball, a few quick announcements. Also at the conclusion of the banquet, we're going to need letter winners of each respective sport to come up and to see their head coach. In order to win a letter, each coach presented their criteria in preseason. If you are a letter winner, you get a letter and a pin. If you are a participant that was a non-letter winner, in addition to the letter winners, you get participation certificates, and those certificates were donated by Friends of the Cardinals this year, and we're in season 2 of it, and it's worked out great. All right, so our next presenter is our girls basketball coach, Mr. Dave Silva.
Okay. All right, first off, I want to thank the administration, Mr. McCann and Mr. Costa, for all that they do. Special thanks to the Friends of the Cardinals. In past years, you know, they've come to some girls' games. This year, they were at every single one, so that's awesome. I want to thank the faculty. We always have a great turnout at our games. Sometimes we see them on the road as well. Also want to thank the parents. We see them everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's Bourne, Wareham, you know, they go to every single game. It's awesome to see the turnout that we have. Even though we're on the road, we never feel like we're in a road game outside of the structure of the gym with the support that we have. Next, I want to congratulate all the athletes here on a great season. Special shout out to the boys basketball team, Coach Wenzel. Obviously, we work hand in hand with sharing the gym time and you know, games and all that. So congrats on a great year, guys. Also, special thank you to Andy Christofoli. I've said this a million times over the past 7 years or 6 years. He's not only our athletic director who does so much, he's also the SEC director for girls basketball. So I see him behind the scenes doing more probably than any other coach in this building. So I want to thank him for all he does for our program and girls basketball in the South Coast Conference. And last but not least, a special thank you to Russell Boardman. He's the best trainer around. I mean, we had some injuries here and there. This year was a relatively healthy year, though, outside of a few bumps and bruises until the end, and he did an incredible job. Our coaching staff, special thank you to Julie Plant. She's fourth-year assistant varsity coach, JV coach. She does an incredible job assisting the program on a daily basis. She helps develop our players. So this year, she had a large group of JV players that she did a really good job with. They went 18-1. And as an alumni of the program, she provides a great example for our student athletes. So thank you very much, Coach Plant. Before I get into the varsity season, just want to give a special shout out to the junior varsity team. Want to congratulate them on a great year. You added a lot to the program every single day. You played a big part in the overall success of not just the JV team, but also the varsity team. You did a great job, girls. Keep working in the off season so we can build off the successes we had this season and as a program take the next step forward. Our varsity season, very competitive. We finished the year 9-11. We got better and better as the year went on. And I can honestly say I think the foundation for the future was laid this season. We had a really nice mix of seniors and underclassmen that pushed each other every day. It was hard. I mean, I sat down with the captains. We were 4-8, I think it was, and it's like, hey, we got to win six out of our last 8, and we found a way to get to the last game. Didn't go the way we wanted it, but we had a chance to get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to play in a one-and-done state tournament game. So that's an incredible accomplishment considering last year we had half the amount of wins that we had this year with the same group. So that's a credit to them. And I know I'm biased, but in my opinion, watching the South Coast Conference as a whole, I think the Case Lady Cardinals were hands down the most improved program in the South Coast Conference. The girls battled through adversity. They got better every day. The improvement showed in the second half of the season, individually and as a team. If you came to our games, each night came down to the wire. Teams we beat the first half of the year, we really beat them the second half of the year. Teams we lost to in the first half of the year, we got them the second time around. And that's a credit to them coming in to work every day through any adversity or anything we had going on. Overall, it was a fun and exciting season. I know I told them in our end of the year meeting, I've been doing this for 17 years here. This was just as enjoyable, and I had a blast with this group as I've had with any other team. It was competitive each night. I couldn't be prouder of the players in the program. The seniors, awesome 4 years. And I can't wait for the group that's coming back so we can get back at it next season. Before I get into the awards, I like to just announce, because we give 5 awards, I just like to just announce the varsity letter recipients. Every single one of them played in every game. So just real quickly, they don't have to come up, but just to give them some recognition. Letter recipients are freshman Victoria Betancourt, freshman Abigail Soroy, sophomore Annie Zhang, sophomore Addie Singleton, sophomore Riley Fitzgerald, junior Amber Aruda, senior Jenna Zhang, senior Alyssa Fieldhauer, senior Maddie Medeiros, and senior Rachel Davidson. So far. All right, on to the awards. We got 5 awards tonight. The first one goes to a second-year varsity player. This season, she was our second leading scorer. A credit to her. Not many people go through a hip surgery in August and find a way to get back and ready to play by the second week of December. If she had it her way, she would have been there the first day, but me and Mr. Boydman had to kind of pull the reins in with the doctors, all right? And she wasn't happy about it, but it definitely paid off. After she was fully recovered the second half of the season, she came on strong. She averaged 12.3 points a game in her last 10 games. I think a highlight, anyone who was there against Diamond, 8 three-pointers, 33 points. I mean, she shot lights out. This kid's got a bright future. We can't wait for her to come back next year. She was recognized by the South Coast Conference as an honorable mention All-Star. That's Riley Fitzgerald. Our next award goes to a third-year varsity player. This year, to her credit, she's the third in the history in my 17 years, the third player to be named a captain as a junior by her peers and coaches. She's asked to do a lot. I can tell you one of the most interesting conversations I had last year was at the end of the year. She asked me what she could do to help the team improve this year, so we could, do the best we could to reach their potential. And as a coach, I talked a lot about the role stuff, and then I told her some difficult stuff. And what I asked her to do was difficult, and it's never read in the newspaper. So you just have to kind of listen to the coaches each day, encouraging you, telling you you're doing what you're doing right. The first thing was play physical in the post, but don't get in foul trouble. She did that 90% of the time, so that was good. The second thing, and this is hard, I said you got to grab over 200 rebounds. All right, we have no one over 5'6", and we get smaller after that. All right. Rachel was our smallest player when she started. She became our second tallest. So, and to her credit, Amber accomplished all of this. All right. Physical in the post, great defense, over 200 rebounds. She's another player next year. I can't wait to see. And the SEC coaches recognized her this year as an honorable mention All-Star, Amber Aruda. Our next award winner is a 4-year member of the program. She's named captain by her peers this season for the first time. Constantly a positive attitude, did what was ever asked for her for the last 4 years. Always focused, moves to the next play. Type of kid everybody wants to coach. One of the hardest things I've seen in athletics when I watch any game is players not getting caught up on what's going on in the fans, what's going on with the refs. She was oblivious to that for all 4 years. Just an all-around great person, great to coach. We had our end of the year meeting. She was real excited about our Apponequet game. That night she came to ball. That's the only way I can put it. She had 17 points. And that's the game, even though we lost by, I think it was 8, team that went to the South semifinals. Probably most people didn't think it was going to be a competitive game. We put up 63 points, and that's the game that got us back on track to win 4 straight after that. So our SEC Team Sportsmanship Award and also a Coaches Award goes to Alyssa Feilhauer. Our next award goes to a player I've probably said this a million times, but I'll say it for 1,000,001, who leads by example both on and off the court. Incredible work ethic. It's contagious throughout the program. When you use the word student athlete, really in the whole program we can use that word. We have a lot of honor roll players, but this player's, second in her class, someday is probably going to be a doctor. Did what was ever asked of her. This season, kind of a different role. We put her out to the perimeter, but we also said you're going to be a shutdown defender. So that's like every night, you're going to guard the best player on the other team. All right? And sometimes it didn't matter if they were post or perimeter. Just some great examples. The top scorer in the SEC, the first time we played him, scored 8 points with her honor. Another girl who averaged 17 a game this year, that's going to be up at Dave Collins, didn't score a basket. This was just a constant trend. Throughout the season, position was basketball. She was our inbounder. This year we let her rebound and go. If we threw her in the post, because when she was little, they put her in a post, we threw her down there too. She's a second-year captain, truly can say that she's the type of athlete every coach loves to coach and does all the intangibles. Coach's Award goes to Maddie Medeiros. Our last awards goes to a 4-year varsity player, second-year captain. She led the team in scoring, 13 points a game, assists, 4.1 a game, over 3 steals a game. I thought the funny thing was me and her sat down to go over some paperwork at the end of the year, and she saw all my stats, and she goes, "You keep track of all that?" We really focus on team stuff. We don't really focus on the individual accomplishments unless they're picking up the papers and stuff. We're really team focused. Well, we celebrate the individual stuff through morning announcements. She was 4th in total points. This is one you didn't know, Rachel. You were 4th in total points in the entire South Coast Conference this year, scoring 260. Considering the talent, and we had 2 teams to go to the South semifinals and finals, that's quite an accomplishment. She set a positive example for the team. Rarely came off the court, probably 10 minutes the whole season. This year, the South Coast Conference coaches, every coach put her on the All-Star team. I mean, there wasn't a single one that did not give her a vote. One coach, I think, rated her the third best player, or 4th best player. It was right in there. So she's a South Coast Conference All-Star. She was also, and again, this is something that happens on March 22nd. She's selected to the elite New Bedford Wareham Boys and Girls Club All-Star game. In this game, it's the best players, not just from the South Coast Conference. It's the EAC. It's the Big Three. It's Dartmouth. It's Westport. The best player this year in this entire state of Massachusetts will be in that game because she's at Bridgewater Rainham. All right, so we'll get a chance to see her. Later this month, she'll be a nominee for the very prestigious Dave Collins Award. She's our MVP this year, Rachel Davidson. Good luck to all the spring athletes. I will see you on the softball field, the tennis court, a nice new track. I've got some workouts on that, but good luck in the spring.
Thank you, Coach. Before we move on to our last presenter, our team MVP trophies that you see for girls and boys basketball are sponsored by Post 303 American Legion. They've sponsored our trophy or our MVPs for numerous years in both football and boys and girls basketball, and we do thank them for their continued support. And finally, I know Jen Michaud, I don't know if Jen is still here, but Jen was kind enough to sit in the cafeteria during our potluck supper and had forms for student athletes to fill out if they earned varsity jackets at the conclusion of the season. So in order to be eligible for a varsity jacket, you have to complete 6 seasons with a minimum of 2 varsity letters. I know that there were 3 student athletes that filled out that paperwork during the potluck supper. If there are any others that are sitting in this auditorium right now that did not get a chance to, or for whatever reason did not know that she was there for that reason, please come see me at the conclusion of the banquet, and we'll make sure that we get you that form. I'll be ordering the jackets next Friday, so you have about 6-day school day turnaround. So please make sure you get that stuff back to me as soon as you can. All right, our last presenter is our boys basketball coach, Dan Wenzel.
Good evening. I'd first like to congratulate all the athletes and coaches on their seasons. I'd like to thank Mr. McCann and Mr. Costa for their support of all of our games this year. I'd like to thank Mr. Crisafoli for his hard work and dedication to Case Athletics and for his continued support of our basketball program. Mr. Boardman for his tireless work with our players. My assistant, Jeremy Puccio, for his work with our JV team and his support this season. His hard work and advice throughout the year was tremendous for me, and he's been a huge addition to our program. I'd like to thank our team manager, Josh Creaney. For all of his help at our home games. I'd like to thank the faculty, parents, and the Friends of the Cardinals for their support throughout the season. And I'd like to thank all of our players for coming ready to play every day and buying into what we're trying to do as a basketball program and overall as an athletic program. I'm extremely proud of this group of student athletes. The hard work and dedication that the JV and varsity players exhibited on a daily basis is a terrific example of how far we have come as a program. I'm especially proud and thankful for this group of seniors. 4 years ago, these boys and I started our journey right with this basketball program. They've been cornerstones of the culture we've tried to create here. Their hard work and dedication has cemented us as a winning program. They passed on a legacy of accountability and expectations, a legacy that wasn't here before them. It's not going to be the same without them around next year, and they'll be missed. This season was another step in the right direction for us. We've established a culture where things are done the right way, and we hold each other accountable and expect the very best each time we step on the floor. We made the playoffs for the 2nd straight season, something that we've now talked about at length as an expectation of our program. Hopefully we'll make it out of the first round one of these days. Successful programs have successful off seasons, right? It'll be the responsibility of returning players to continue the legacy of these seniors. Make each day count this off season, practice with a purpose, remember that every day is a chance to be better than the last. All right, for our awards. This individual is a 4-year member of the basketball program and has the ability to beat defenses from the inside and out. He was a versatile defender, and he came on strong down the stretch when we needed him most. Injuries hit us at the worst possible time this year, and he played a huge role in us winning 4 of our last 5 games, allowing us to secure a home playoff game. My first coach's award goes to Big Ryan McConnell. What, go right in front? It's first. All right, this next player has been a 4-year varsity basketball player and was the captain for us this year. Had he not missed his entire junior season due to a knee injury, he would have been a 4-year varsity starter. With a smooth stroke from the outside, he's been a floor spacer for us his entire career. He was averaging 11.5 points per game before another knee injury ended his season after 15 games. my second Coach's Award, Jake Montero. In front. I don't think any player in the South Coast Conference this year had the ball in his hands as much as this next individual. He's blessed with incredible speed and quickness. He's got the ability to get into the paint almost at will. What I love the most about him is his ability to take constructive criticism. I expect a lot from the boys. And if you've been to a game, you know I tend to get on certain individuals from time to time. You know, and someone who has the ball as much as he does, I have very high expectations of him. And as much as I do get on him about every little thing he does, he knows it's because of the potential I see in him. He'll be counted on next year to be a leader for us. An honorable mention, SEC All-Star, Alex Levesque. This next individual was a do-it-all type player for us this year. He wasn't going to wow you with his scoring. In fact, a lot of the time we really had to beg him to even shoot the ball. I only asked one thing of him when he did shoot the ball, right? It was to hit the rim. Right? It was about 50-50. What I do love the most about him is that he's the type of player who doesn't need the ball to be effective. He filled up the stat sheet for us. He's leading the team in assists and steals. He rarely came off the floor. He was an emotional leader for us on and off the floor, senior captain, and an honorable mention SEC All-Star, Chris Costa. This next player started off the year for us as our sixth man, and he ended as a starter for us with the ability to be a knockdown three-point shooter. He was counted on to be a floor spacer for us. He came to practice every day, worked hard, gave his all, right? And down the stretch, he really hit some big shots for us. Our SEC Sportsmanship Award recipient, Dylan Tivitat. This next individual, right, has only begun to scratch the surface of the potential he has. Right, he's an incredible athlete. He was our leading scorer and rebounder with averages of 13.3 points per game and 6.9 rebounds per game. I could tell you that, you know, when he figures it all out, right, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in this conference. He's a Boys and Girls Club All-Star, the only sophomore selected as an SEC All-Star, and someone who, when it's all said and done, could very well leave here as the boys' all-time leading scorer. Is that enough pressure, Jordan? Right. An SEC All-Star, Jordan Roderick's. Last one, right? I didn't leave anyone out. Last one, right? Okay. Just making sure. For our last award, this player is someone who we're really going to miss next year. He's a 4-year member of the basketball program. He's a 2-year varsity starter. He's a 2-year captain, and he's been an invaluable member of the program in his time here. When he first walked through the gym doors, he was a short, scrawny kid with a line drive, bullet for a shot. He's leaving here. He's still scrawny, but he's a little bit taller. Shot has gotten significantly better. This year he led our team in three-point field goals made and our three-point field goal percentage. If you really did see him shoot the ball as a freshman, you would have thought that would be impossible. With averages of 11.5 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game, and 2.5 assists per game, he became our go-to player this year. An SEC All-Star, our Dave Cameron's Award nominee and team MVP, Logan Sherratt. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wenzel. Okay, few quick reminders. Please make sure that our letter winners come to the stage and see their head coaches for the letters and their pins. One thing I did forget to mention, the captains get their captain's pins also. Each participant in the program will receive a certificate of participation, as I mentioned, sponsored by Friends of the Cardinals. Please make sure that you see me for varsity jacket sheets if you did qualify. Please make sure that you see me after. And please make sure that if you are a award winner, report to the gymnasium post-banquet. We're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to take pictures of award winners with your team, meaning award winners that from each team will take a group picture with your respective sport. So I hope everyone had a great night. I look forward to starting the spring season on Monday without any snow on the ground, and have a great night. Thank you.